Hey everyone! Gather around for a hilarious tale from a quaint little town called Riverbend. Meet Larry, a guy who loves his whiskey a bit too much. Now, Larry wasn't your typical churchgoer. Nope, not by a long shot. But one fateful Sunday, after a wild night at the tavern, Larry stumbled into the local church. Picture this. The congregation is quietly waiting for the service to begin, and Pastor Bob is up front prepping his sermon. Larry, with his arms flailing and a slight wobble in his step, takes a seat in the back pew. He hasn't realized just how loud he is until he tries to whisper to the elderly lady next to him. But instead, his voice booms through the church like an echo. "Hey! You know where the bar is? I'm parched," Larry asks, looking around the room, his breath a mix of whiskey and garlic. The elderly lady, stunned but clearly used to Larry's antics, whispers back, "Shh, this is church." Larry squints and nods seriously. Church, bar, they both serve spirits, right? He gives her a wink, thinking he's just cracked the greatest joke ever told. Pastor Bob, trying to stay composed, steps up to the pulpit and begins his sermon. But Larry, he's too busy muttering to himself about the best pub crawls in the area. When Pastor Bob mentions the Lord's Prayer, Larry, still a little too tipsy, stands up and loudly shouts, "That's right, I'll take a double of the Lord's Prayer." Neat! Pastor Bob's eyes widen, but he tries to continue. "Let us bow our heads in reverence to God." Larry, thinking he's being respectful, bends his head. But then, right as the congregation is in deep prayer, he lets out a loud, dramatic sneeze, followed by, "Bless me, Father, for I have had too much communion wine last night." The whole church is trying their hardest not to burst out laughing, but a few giggles break through. Pastor Bob, trying to salvage the situation, says, "Larry, my friend, let's take a moment to reflect on our actions." Larry, with a serious look on his face, nods and mutters, "Reflect, like in a mirror." "Yeah, I look good, huh?" As the service goes on, Larry becomes more and more animated, thinking he's in some kind of stand-up comedy show. He starts raising his hand during hymns, offering unsolicited commentary like, "This hymn needs more cowbell," and "When's the BBQ after this?" Finally, Pastor Bob has had enough and calls for a quick break. As the congregation leaves to grab some coffee, Larry, still full of bravado, raises his cup and loudly proclaims, "To the Holy Spirits!" He then accidentally spills the coffee all over the floor, looks down, and says, "Guess that's my offering for the day." And so, Larry learned two things that Sunday. One, never show up to church hungover. And two, never try to turn the pulpit into a stand-up comedy show when your spirits are higher than your faith. Pastor Bob gave him a look as he left, shook his head and whispered, "Well, at least it wasn't water into wine." And Larry? Well, let's just say he decided to stick to coffee for the rest of the week. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more hilarious tales.